I think these three are the best, and that's why I've personally endorsed them. And these three have all demonstrated to me throughout the time I've known them that they are leaders. They have that backbone.
Do these legislators, talking about city council members, realize that even themselves will become common citizens again one day and may be bound hand, foot, maybe even mouth? What the city council is doing was shutting down public comment. They won't be able to speak either if that's a policy that's enacted. And when we remove them from office, which is going to happen, right, guys? Could you imagine us up there being on the city council, and then it's no longer the 4-1 vote, and the 4 is against your freedom, our freedoms, our way of life?
When you look at my flyer, it says a strong voice for you. That is really my main focus, is getting back to following the Constitution, upholding the Constitution, and of course, doing the will of the majority who elected you. The council has 5 members. They do not have districts. That means that every single person on the council, they all represent the same 100,000 people. So how is it, I ask you, that there could be an issue and one person's way over here and one is way over here? Somebody is not listening to the majority. This is, and they don't, in my opinion, is they don't want to know what you think. And the reason they don't want that is because they want to vote however they want and say, well, the people I talked to, that's what they told me. They don't want to be held accountable. That's why it's so important that we do these surveys and polls. That's why it's so important that we have some measurable way to know what the majority thinks on these bigger issues, because it holds them accountable.
First and foremost, I'm a John Birch Society first-year member, and what lured me into joining was the Constitution series courses. I think that we should have all of the elected officials doing that once a year. It was truly an eye-opening experience. So that's first and foremost. I really think that should be incorporated to all elected officials. My passions are property taxes, as weird as that sounds. So that's what sort of got me to this point today. I do not like the structure of the property tax system here in Utah. Now that's something that the city council cannot directly control, but it is something I have been working on for well over 10 years. Now the city council does have control over the property taxes and the truth in taxation. That is going to be up for vote. They were going to do it last year, but the public outrage made them surrender a little bit. That's not going to be the case if we get the wrong people in next year. I'm very protective of the property taxes. I do not want them raised. If it can at all be avoided, which our budget is way too huge to do that.
We are under attack, and our current city council people, -1, our current city council people don't realize they don't belong there right now. They're great people. They are wonderful people, but they are not the ones that should be leading right now as we have this attack on our freedoms coming. And not only has it been happening, it's going to get worse. It will absolutely get worse. We all see the writing on the wall. It doesn't take a master's degree in intelligence to see that it's happening. And it has been my focus, my calling, if you will, to predict these kind of things.
So how am I qualified to do this? Well, I've been holding people, legislators accountable for the last 3 years. Some of the things I didn't mention: commercials on KSL, parades, countless protest rallies. We're in the paper nationwide. Numerous articles. You know, we made them pay attention to us, and they will think twice before they come after Dixie again. I can tell you that. Even though they got away with the school, they know darn well that we're not to be trifled with, and we created that. I stood up for the people. I'll continue to do that. So again, it's what the mess that got us here is legislators clearly not listening to the majority, and they're violating their oath. They're not listening on purpose, if you can imagine. Sometimes it's just hard because it's not always easy to know what you guys think. It takes a lot of due diligence. Sometimes it's just laziness. But regardless whether it's lack of due diligence or just willfully choosing not to go along with what they want because you have the hidden agenda, neither of those situations are okay. So I'm going to put in the focus and the effort to increase our community engagement and start getting these things right.
The only other small thing I want to mention that I am passionate about, everybody says we want affordable housing. And you'll hear them on their campaign, I'm going to bring affordable housing. I'm here to tell you that's not possible. Elected officials cannot give you affordable housing. That's not going to happen. It's just not possible. You can't make a builder build a less expensive house and then sell it cheaper to this guy because he wants it. It doesn't happen. It's not going to. Those promises are false. What I would like to do is streamline the procedures for certain things. For instance, ADUs, accessory dwelling units. They're small houses. I built one in my backyard. I'm very familiar with them. If the red tape was removed and the process was quicker, Washington State has it online, pre-approved, lots of blueprints that homeowners can I think they give them to them. And there's a dedicated clerk that stamps it. It's super fast. You don't have to go through the approval process or anything. You save money because you can pick from lots of blueprints and you can put these ADUs in your backyard. That's going to help for the younger families that are just looking for a small one-bedroom, house to rent, or seniors coming back to live with their family and they can't afford something. And this is just going to open up some options for rentals or families that want to live together, cohabitate. Those are the things that I'm passionate about.
As you can see, these are genuine people. There's not a lot of hidden agendas here. I think we're all pretty transparent in where we stand. And I will just reiterate that I feel passionately, and 16 candidates, there's a lot of risk with diluting votes, and I think there's a couple of other good ones running. However, I think these three are the best. And that's why I personally endorsed them, because I knew going into this, it was going to take a very concerted effort behind three solid candidates. And so most of you probably have already received your ballots in the mail. If you're voting in person, you absolutely can at the Dixie Center. September 5th is the official voting day and deadline. There is early voting in person also available at the Dixie Center. Check online for those dates and times, tomorrow and Friday.
Noon to 4.
Okay, perfect, at the Dixie
And then on the
Center.
5th, it's 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Awesome, and there's 16 city council candidates on the ballot for ultimately 3 open seats. 6 candidates will move past the primary. But you can only vote for 3, so please don't mark more than 3 or else your ballot will be invalidated.